let's talk about how the fact that Oblivion Remastered was actually leaked a long time ago alongside a Fallout 3 remaster, all from documents that Microsoft had actually basically put up in front of the courts as part of the fact that they were trying to buy Activision Blizzard back in the day. And when I say back in the day, we're talking about the 20th of September 2023. So this was about a year and a half ago. So let's actually talk about it. So basically, to provide a bit of context, what I'm going to be talking about, it's basically the fact that alongside an Oblivion remaster, a Fallout 3 remaster was also basically being talked about as well. And that seems like a strange thing to bring up, but the fact that the actual Oblivion Remastered was announced and released should go to show that, among other documents that were presented during the Activision acquisition period for Microsoft, that there's a potential that other things may in fact come up. So basically what we have here is Microsoft documents have leaked a number of unannounced Bethesda games, including an Oblivion remaster. The documents were apparently accidentally published as part of the FTC versus Microsoft trial over the buyout of Activision Blizzard, and includes a chart put together in July 2020 ahead of Microsoft's March 2021 purchase of Bethesda parent company ZeniMax Media. And that's of course when we then started seeing Bethesda's games either become exclusives or were games that were then supposed to release on PlayStation but as exclusives but then come to Xbox at a later date. So basically, we're looking at stuff like, so what they were expecting to release was during financial year 2022 was stuff like the Oblivion Remaster and Indiana Jones game, which we now know that Oblivion Remaster was in fact in the works, and we did get an Indiana Jones game in the form of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. In addition to that, financial year 2023, they were thinking about launching, so this is all plans by the way, nothing concrete. It was supposed to be Doom Year Zero and its DLC, as well as Project Kestrel and Project Platinum. Now I don't know what Kestrel and Platinum are, these two project names, but we do know that Doom Year Zero was in fact Doom the Dark Ages. So when Doom the Dark Ages releases this year, I think they might be planning on releasing a DLC later on in the year. And alongside that, they also were planning originally on releasing in the financial year 2024 Elder Scrolls 6, a Project Kestrel expansion. Oh, actually, looking at this now, I think Project Kestrel was supposed to be Starfield. Looking at it now, because they have Project Kestrel expansion, and the game that we did get was Starfield, and the expansion that we got for it was Shattered Space. Alongside that, a licensed IP game, not too sure what that could be, Fallout 3 Remaster, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and Doom Year Zero DLC. So we might get more Doom the Dark Ages DLC along the lines, maybe if the first DLC, so basically 2 pieces of DLC for that game, a Dishonored 3, which would be really cool, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, obviously, living in the year 2025, things are very different. Oblivion we didn't get until this year in 2025. Indiana Jones we didn't get until 2024. So the fact that those two were planned for financial year 2022 is crazy to think about. But we did then, and of course they were planning on releasing Doom Year Zero and Project Kestrel in financial year 2023. That didn't happen. Doom the Dark Ages we're getting this year in 2025, and we got when did we get Starfield? Was it last year? Something like that. But basically all of these projects that I'm talking about have been heavily delayed, and so we could look at, say, something like The Elder Scrolls 6, we're probably not going to get that for at least 2 to 3 years out. The same thing could probably be said for Fallout 3 Remastered. So basically, the main reason for why I'm even making this video at all is basically to talk about the fact that Oblivion Remastered was in fact leaked before. This isn't the first time that we're hearing about it, but above all else, there's so much more information that we can kind of glean from the fact that other information was also leaked, and that there may be a potential for us to receive, or for these games to be developed and released in the not too distant future, among which we are getting Doom the Dark Ages, a couple of pieces of DLC for that game, plus the fact that Elder Scrolls 6 is still in the works, and we're probably going to get that a little bit later on alongside a Fallout 3 remaster. Now, the funny thing about Oblivion doing incredibly well is the fact that because they know a remaster for Oblivion can do incredibly well, they probably have confidence that if they were to release a Fallout 3 remaster, that would in fact do incredibly well as well. Alongside a Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, a Dishonored 3. But the thing is that I don't think the Ghostwire Tokyo sequel is in the works anymore, given that they actually had to shut down the studio that made it. So that's no longer a thing, I would imagine, but also having a Dishonored 3 in there somewhere. So there is a lot to look at and a lot to talk about, but I feel like we've been able to glean a lot of information based on kind of what I've talked about here. And it's just absolutely, again, just fascinating to see how all of this has ultimately shaken up in the end. So yeah, with all that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, and I do actually want to ask, do you think we're actually going to see a Fallout 3 remastered? Do you think we are actually going to get 2 pieces of DLC for Doom the Dark Ages? Hell, do you think there's a possibility that we are actually going to get a known IP game, for example? I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say about all of this, because this is all listed in the court filings from Microsoft during the Activision acquisition period that they had accidentally uploaded to the FTC site. So I would be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. But with all that being said, however, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.